This video presentation is Plants Part 2. In Plants Part 1, you learned about the different parts of a plant, the roots, the stem, and the leaves, and their many functions. You also learned about the stomata, where transpiration takes place. That's where water leaves the plant, and carbon dioxide goes in through the stoma into the chloroplast for photosynthesis to take place, and the waste from photosynthesis, the oxygen, leaves. Now we're going to talk about photosynthesis. Here's the word photosynthesis. If we look at the first part of the word, photo, it means light, like a photograph needs light. And synthesis means to put something together. So photosynthesis is how plants use light and water to make sugar. So if you look down here at the diagram, here's the light energy from the sun called radiation. It's also the electromagnetic spectrum, and part of that spectrum is the light energy. That's the radiation. The carbon dioxide goes in through the stoma into the chloroplast. The light energy or radiation also comes in through the stoma into the chloroplast. The chlorophyll inside absorbs that light energy and triggers the reaction for carbon dioxide and water that's come up through the roots into the leaf, into the chloroplast, to photosynthesize. That means it's making glucose and sugar. That's its food. And the waste from photosynthesis is the oxygen that leaves through the stoma and back into the environment. Here's the chemical formula for photosynthesis. The water comes up through the roots and through the stem, through the xylem. Those are the little tubes that the transpiration is pulling that water capillary action up through the xylem to the leaf. Carbon dioxide comes in through the stoma and into the chloroplast. The light energy from the sun or radiation is absorbed by the chlorophyll that's in the chloroplast. These are your raw materials or reactants because they react together to produce glucose, oxygen, and water. So these are our products. So here's our arrow that tells us that a chemical reaction is happening. Everything to the left of the arrow is a raw material. Everything to the right of the arrow is a product. Please copy this chemical formula into your notes. Here's the same formula again, but it's written out in its actual chemical formulas. So here we have 6 carbon dioxide and 6 water with the radiant energy from the sun coming in to get that whole reaction going. Next year you'll learn that that's an endothermic reaction because it's used in the reactant side or raw materials to get the reaction going to produce or create glucose and oxygen. This slide shows you 2 different things, photosynthesis and respiration. Let's look at photosynthesis first. Here. The 6 carbon dioxide. This is what a carbon dioxide molecule looks like. 2 oxygen and 1 carbon. There are 6 of these that go into photosynthesis. Here's a water molecule that has 2 hydrogen and 1 oxygen. There are 6 of these molecules in the raw materials or reactants. The energy from the sun comes in, the radiation, and gets this whole chemical process going. The chlorophyll absorbs it into the chloroplast. And what it produces is glucose, which is 6 carbon, 12 hydrogen, and 6 oxygen. And you can see what the molecule looks like here. It also produces 12 oxygen. This is what an O2 molecule looks like, and there are 6 of them. 6 and 6 of these, making 12 oxygens, and this is the waste that comes out of the plant through the stoma into the environment that we breathe in. So again, that's photosynthesis, and it's shown right here. The energy goes in and creates this chemical energy, which is glucose. Now, when the plant needs that energy, it's going to undergo aerobic respiration. I just need you to remember the word respiration. And respiration means it's going to take that glucose and break it down into its parts that it started with and energy. That energy is going to make it able to do everything it needs to grow and function properly. So the glucose and the oxygen, which you can see is right here in the product. So all we've done is flip the chemical equation. Now glucose and oxygen are first. They are now our raw materials. The chemical reaction occurs to produce 6 carbon dioxides, 6 water, and a whole bunch of energy, or ATP. The place where respiration takes place, because we're dealing with energy, is in the mitochondria. Remember, the mighty mitochondria gives us that energy, or ATP. So respiration is just the total opposite of photosynthesis. We're breaking down that sugar to get energy. In photosynthesis, we're using carbon dioxide and water and energy to make that glucose or sugar. Now we're going to look at how plants are classified. Just like the last couple weeks, you've been learning about how animals are classified. So plants are divided into non-flowering and flowering. And that means either they have seeds or they have no seeds. A lot of times when they have no seeds, they have spores instead. We then divide the no-seed plants into non-vascular and vascular. Now the word vascular, if you think about it, you have a vascular system. Those are all your arteries and veins that carry your blood. These vascular means all of the stem, the xylem and phloem, and the veins in the leaves that carry the water and minerals and nutrients around the plant. That's a vascular system. So you're going to divide it into non-vascular and vascular. Vascular has roots. It has roots, a stem, and leaves, but it has spores instead of seeds. For example, fern plants are like these. Then there are non-vascular plants. These guys have no roots. This is like mosses. And if you think about moss, that's the low-growing, bright green plant that you see at the base of trees, and they don't have any roots or a stem. So they are non-vascular. Now if we come back up here to the plants and go to flowering, or plants that have seeds, they are further divided into 2 types, Gymnosperms and Angiosperms. Gymnosperm means naked seed. These would be like pine trees that have cones or ginkgo trees. Then there are Angiosperms. Angiosperms are fruits, vegetables, and flowers. These can further be divided into leaves that are 1-seed leaves, monocot, mono means 1, or 2-seed leaves, dicot. Remember that di means 2. So like we just talked about, plants are classified based on whether or not they have a vascular system, how are the nutrients and water transported to help that plant photosynthesize and grow. They're either going to have seeds or no seeds, flowers, or maybe they're going to have cones instead. This picture shows you the evolution of plants through over millions of years. So if we go back to way over 400 million years ago, all we had was like algae-like plants. Then they evolved into mosses, so very low growing plants with spores. Then came the early vascular plants. So they were like the ferns and the horsetails. But ferns, remember, they still are using spores, just like horsetails. Now, the first seed plants came. First came the gymnosperms. These were like our conifers, like a pine tree with the pine cones. Then the angiosperms, and these would be our flowering plants. Remember the other day when we talked about what makes something living? What are their characteristics? And responding to our environment, stimuli and response, which we at the beginning of the year called irritability. So plants respond to their environment, and they through natural selection and evolution have adaptations that help them survive and pass those traits on to their offspring. Plants have chemical signals inside of their cells that tell them when to do certain things. So like to drop their leaves, or to start new growth, or to ripen the fruit, or to bloom, for the flowers to bloom, or when a seed should sprout. Tropism is the way a plant grows in response to the stimuli in the environment. So remember how we talked about plants respond to stimuli. When you were growing plants at the beginning of the year, you may have noticed that they grew towards the light. That's phototropism. They grow in response to the light, so they bend towards the light. So a lot of students would take and turn their plants periodically so it would stand up straight because it would start bending towards the light. Geo Tropism, geo means earth, is in response to gravity. So plants' roots grow down with the gravity, but the shoots and stems grow up against gravity and out of the soil. Thigmotropism is growth response to touch. This is like when vines grow up around the trees or the Venus flytrap closes when its leaves are touched. Here are some examples of geotropism, phototropism, and thigmotropism. Now go to Nearpod and take your closed notes on the plant kingdom.